Morning, everybody. Welcome to Sales Chatter. We got the man in black. We're Agent Dan Deigan over here.
Agent Sales Hacker.
Yeah, Agent Sales Hacker.
And we got my main man Jeff. It's been an amazing week. Let's get to it, man. We got a lot to talk about today.
Let's do it, man.
Welcome to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Dan, I need one of those shirts, man. I think Jeff and we need to kind of get like some kind of
shirts. I got a bunch.
I'm repping the dogs and doggos and tacos today for
we need some swag.
Yeah, we need some swag.
I got tons of it here. I'll have to get you guys out some packages.
Yeah. And set us like some promo codes or something, just in case. Good morning, Lisa. So happy to see you here this morning.
Hey, morning. Lisa,
morning,
number
Lisa.
one. Always.
Yeah, always. She's back for that number one spot, man. She's been acting. And
It'll be interesting to see how the competition starts when Jeff gets back.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, absolutely.
That'll be a sad day, man. That'll be a sad day. You have to kind of come there. But boys, man, it's been, you know what? I've been like reeling off of yesterday's episode. I probably listened to it 3 times. I did it twice at the gym. And honestly just listen again. And it definitely a lot of good value there. I saw a bunch of people downloaded it, a bunch of people liked and commented on it. It was awesome. Like, I feel like we can go into that again, but let's get into wins and lessons for the week. Dan, you're back, man. Second day back. We're so happy to have you. Let's start off with you.
Absolutely, man.
Mind you, we only have a 30-minute show today. Just
it feels really good to be back. I mean, I still feel I'm probably at about a 40% of what I normally am. When I finish, I typically take a nap, and I know it sounds crazy, but it's staring into the camera and having great conversation actually takes a lot out of me. For me, probably the biggest lesson I've learned coming out of what I've been through, besides the fact of finding pure love, and I've shared that a couple of times with my wife, and just understanding what real love really means, is adapting to the new now. And for me, that means I can't go from the second I wake up till the second I put my head down. Like I gotta sometimes take a step back. It's struggle. I'm struggling with it. I'm still trying to learn it, but I also know it's what needs to happen. Like even now I can feel my throat drying out. So in a very short period of time, I have to stop talking. But when your job, when your career, when everything revolves around speaking, right? We have a new product coming out, which is going to be demos. I got to prepare for that. Like it's all these things. And like Lisa says, it's universe telling you something. It is, but then there's that productive side of me. There's that goal getter side of me. That is like, so perfect example. Doctor said it'd be probably about 8 weeks before I'd be able to eat. Right. So I have not actually been able to eat solid food for the last 64 days now. I'm living off of Boost. I'm almost 30 pounds down from where I was. And I'm like dying to eat food again. So like even last night at dinner, I'm pushing. And all of a sudden I'm throwing up because I'm eating too much soup. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then all of a sudden now I feel like I've set myself back from getting better. And when I sneeze, it tears all the scars in my throat open. So I start spitting blood for like an hour. And I feel like I set myself back. So for me, the biggest lesson is just, as much as it hurts, sometimes it's actually counterproductive to push, as opposed to letting it flow. And if Damon's on, Daman is a big let it flow guy. He's just all about the flow. But you forget that, right? Like, because we as high performers, as sales hackers, as people that are part of this community, it's like, man, we got a life. We got a life to create. We got things to do. We got things that we got to make happen.
Right.
And I don't know about you guys, But when I say, okay, October 5th is a date it's going to happen, I move mountains to make it happen October 5th. I don't want it to happen October 6th. October 6th. I've set it as October 5th.
Right.
And that's probably for me has been one of the most deflating parts, to the point of depression, because I'm a go-getter, and this disease has screwed with my head so bad, that it's like I'm on medication and everything, and I got no problem saying it. I'm having mental health issues when it comes to that delivery of my goals, my dreams, my desires, because I want them so bad for my family. I want them so bad for the people that, like guys, I've told you guys many times, if I'm not delivering at my best, there's 10,000 sales reps out there that I'm letting down, because my goal is 10,000 sales reps doing over $1 million GP in a year. And for me, it's been that, okay, Dan, it's not your fault. It's not like you're sitting there binging Netflix when you can be working. I physically, my brain in the recovery of cancer, like I can't go more than 30 minutes of serious concentration before I'm like, man, I got to take a nap. And I know it sounds crazy, like I'm 45, I'm not 90, but it's just what my body's going through right now.
And that's okay.
So for me, Jeff, it is, but
okay.
This is what I have to, right? Like it was kind of like, 6 weeks ago, where I said, I want to do this, but I physically can't. Right. So I have to accept it. And that's kind of where I'm at now, is that acceptance that, well, and I haven't even accepted it because it's still plaguing my head, but that sometimes, the universe has a different path for us than we have for ourselves, and we have to accept it. So that's my biggest lesson for probably the last 2 weeks, because when I stopped treatment, so I went through 35 rounds of radiation, 3 rounds of chemo, and everyone was saying, at the end, it gets a lot worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, like 4 days after I finished treatment, what I can't even explain it to the point where I think anyone would get it. I think, and I don't mean to sound like one of those people, but I think you have to go through it to really feel what it is. I wouldn't wish it on the worst person on the planet, what I had to go through, and just, choking on your own saliva, choking on your own phlegm, like struggling to breathe, and just all of it, just really screws with you in ways that, I don't know. I mean, I'm a huge personal development guy. I've been doing it since I was 17. I'm probably one of the most headstrong people you'll ever meet in your life. And there was times I'm like, I'm done. No, not interested. Whatever is going to happen. And that's not me. Like it broke me to a point. And it's that rebuilding for me that this is part of it, getting back and being able to do this with you guys. And even now I'm smiling, and I feel like I'm smiling half-assed, because none of this is all still so swollen back here. Right. And it's, I want to jump out of my seat and like, for the excitement, and I just can't. Right. It's crazy. So, again, it's, that it's coming, and as much as I want it to be here now, it's not. So how do I mentally set that production up in my head, so at the end of the day, I don't feel like a failure every day? And that's the big thing. That's the big for me. Like my calendar's empty, because I have no idea when I can start moving things. And for me, and for all of you that operate on a calendar, imagine if you looked at your calendar and you just wiped it clean. Like now I feel like I got no goals, I got no desires, I got no ambitions, no nothing. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's because I do, but it's like I'm looking, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing today. I mean, it's Friday. I don't know what I'm doing today. I know I have a call at 3:30.
Right.
But I don't know what I'm doing today. And I've never been like that. And for me, that's the toughest part that I'm dealing with from my mental health right now is um, is just adapting to the healing process because my hips hurt from lying in bed because for 2.5 weeks all I did was lie in bed. My hips hurt. Like I literally have issues with my hips because all I did was lie in bed. I don't want to be in bed anymore. Like I don't. It's the last place I want to be. So it's like, what do I got to do? Well, if what I got to hang myself from the ceiling so I can sleep for half an hour because I don't want to be in bed, right? Like, well, So, anyways, I'm monopolizing the conversation, but
No way.
that's the
No, no,
big thing for me is that mental health piece, and how do you maintain your mental health while you're struggling to be the high performer you used to be,
Yeah.
right? And accepting that sometimes we just gotta sit back and like think about it, guys. All of you that are high performers, imagine not working, not having one accomplished goal, not having one set, prospect that you want to close for close to 4 months, right? Like you feel like you're not, you feel fake. You feel fake. And I think that's probably the best wording I can use is I feel like I'm fake because I'm not helping people. That's all I want to do. But I just physically can't. Like I'm not doing my weekly, my Tuesdays and Thursdays sessions because I can't. So I was, I'm
that's
hoping we can
okay.
start those up for all everybody in Inception in next month. But it's like I just physically can't do it. I tried and I lasted like 7 minutes and it was just like even now my voice is starting to crack, right? So anyways, that's where I'm at, boys. Sorry, didn't mean to bring everybody down.
No, no. You know what? This is all part of the healing process. And I know you pretty well, Dan. And I know that most of the stuff that you're saying, and don't take this wrong, I don't believe it because you're a go-getter and you already put into your mind all those goals. You just told me, you just told everybody all those goals and objectives that you want to meet. So you're going to come back a lot stronger and harder
Yes.
and feistier on the backside of this. So there's a lot of positivity within this, and you have to set priorities. You did. You chose to take care of yourself. You didn't push yourself. You listened to both Ryan and I and said, you know what? We don't need you on your own show. Go take a rest for a long time. And you did that, and it helped you out greatly. So, everything that you said on the show since I've been watching it, you're going to come back like a billionfold because
I know that, Jeff. It's the
you preach it.
timeline.
You preach it every single day. So you already got it in your head. That's why I know that you're not going to be there. You say you're there now, but you're not going to be there, and you're going to come back unbelievable. I know it. I
just
know.
like
And I know that it's not that I don't believe that. What it is for the first time in my life, I don't have a date. Do you know what I mean? Like, and nobody can give me one. I've asked the doctors, okay, when can I go back? Like, my doctors tell me you're not going to be back to work till January or February, and I'm like,
Yeah.
are you crazy? I'll go crazy if I can't do that. And it's the unknown, and sometimes, right? Like you guys know that unknown drives you crazy. It really does. Come on,
True.
like it drives us crazy.
it does, but I think like what everyone's well, first of all, thank you for your vulnerability and sharing that with us because like
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
what we're all about. Like, thank you for that first of all, because like you can easily come on here and be like, hey, I'm back, let's go, we're back to the thing, but you're being honest with yourself and you're being honest with everybody who's watching. I think when it comes down to it, like we said, you can never pour from an empty cup, right? Like that's the so forget the 10,000 reps, man, because at the end of the day, man, if you can't be good, you're one rep yourself, like who cares about the other 10,000? But I know what Jeff is kind of saying. Like, we kind of get in that culture of like, hey, you're going to come back. The setback is better than, the comeback is better than the setback, or whatever it is. But I think for your day to day, you're given something that is so precious that we take for granted, which is time. Like I will tell you this, Dan. Like Jeff probably works like 12, 14-hour days. Like, what would you do? Like you always say, hey, what would you do if you never lost a client, right? But let me ask you this, Dan. What would you do if you got all your time back? would you go and try to forget work? Would you go and try new hobbies? You know, like would you try to pick up a guitar or something like that? Like try step out of your comfort zone in terms of like your personal life is what I would kind of say. Forget the professional life, man. That stuff will come through. You've worked so hard in this industry, and when you're talking your story, I was just remembering that story with that automaker that you talked that you slept in your office, all these stupid updates, and made like
Yep.
$200 GP. So forget that. Don't go through don't go through that again
No,
because that
Oh,
was your life. That was your life. But what I'm trying to say is that
exactly.
I'm not trying to get spiritual here because I'm a pretty spiritual guy, but hey, man,
mhm.
maybe there's a higher calling for you, man. Maybe you gotta seek out something in the universe that's been talking to you. And like I said, man, like with your daily
Well, it's
time, like
funny
I
because
know
I've
it
created a
sucks.
list for that, Ryan. I've
See,
created,
forget
I've,
the list,
I've,
man.
I've
No,
created a
it's gotta
list.
come.
No,
Rip the
Yeah.
list, man. You gotta burn all the lists, burn all the
That's,
boats, like you've
yeah.
gotta forget the list, man. Like you gotta honestly just kind of figure out what's actually talking to you and go to it. Like you're spending more time with your family, you're spending more time with those amazing dogs that you
priorities.
sent a picture. It's a priorities, man. Like I said, man, forget
Absolutely
if I
priorities.
looked and to answer your
That's the
question, if
thing
I
is
looked at
I'm
an empty
not.
count.
That's the thing is I'm not because I'm
Mhm.
sleeping, right? Like it's not as if because I'm not working, I'm just able to spend time. Like I'm literally 3 minutes and I'm like hacking up, and it's like I gotta go to sleep, and then so that's the frustrating part is if you were able to transfer one to the other, I'd be like, you know what, I'm cool. I've had a
Mhm.
4 month hiatus now. My wife, I've spent a lot more time with her because of all the hospital visits and everything, and that's been wonderful.
Yep.
You kind of wish it was under different pretenses, right?
Time is time,
Like
man.
feel, of course,
Absolutely.
but it's not. It's not as if like this time is just being sucked up by I don't know, and it's weird. It's really weird because it is sleep, which is rejuvenating my body because I obviously need it, right? But
Absolutely. Your body's talking
yeah,
to you.
Everybody's talking to you. Yeah, I
but
think
I
I think
agree
everybody's
with you with the spiritual part, and don't ever worry about getting spiritual, brother.
yeah,
It's
it's
all
it's
about
just one of those things.
spiritual.
But yeah, like it's day by day, right? And it's what we always do in sales and what we do in our own lives, right? We gotta take things day by day. And Jeff, like what's kind of like been something that your wins and losses for the week and the wins and lessons for the week that you've kind of figured out because you've had quite a bit.
Oh my God. From the beginning of the week, the shows that we had with Marcus yesterday, I mean, talking about mindset, it's so important. And it just re-energizes me. I think I have a pretty good mindset, but to hear that and hear other people's fate and where they were, what happened to them, how they overcame the obstacles, adversity, really bad adversity, and now they're stronger, bigger, and better than they ever were before. That was a huge takeaway. That was like a huge win for everybody out there, not just myself and us here, but I mean, when you're in that time of your life where you feel everything is against you, just remember what Marcus said yesterday. And if you didn't watch, I strongly advise you to watch it because it will resonate with everybody out there, especially coming from somebody that went from an NFL player to a garbage picker, basically, and then getting to where he is right now. And he was wearing garbage and spoiled milk and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, I don't think it gets any worse than that, man. When you're up here and then you fall, through the pits of hell, and then you have to dig yourself back up, that's persistence, that's drive, that's determination. I'm not going to fail. And it's the same thing when you're an entrepreneur and you get to that god awful place and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. You'll make it. You'll make it. Get that mindset. That's the biggest win of the whole week. For me, I'm sure it was for you guys as well, right? I mean, it
I
was.
remember asking Marcus. So I've known Marcus for a few years now. And when
Yeah.
he first told me his story, it wasn't as polished as he has it now because he's told it, a million times.
Yep.
I asked him, I said, Marcus, I played football. And when I played football, ego was probably one of the biggest pieces of the game, right? And you go from like your high school to NFL, the big show.
Yep.
I said, how on earth did your ego take being a janitor? And I remember him saying, "Goes Dan, it was like he goes, yeah, he goes, it was bad. It was bad because think about it. You're an NFL, almost an all-star.
Yeah.
You have your family history is NFL. Like,
His dad's in the
and
Hall of
now,
Fame, his brother
yeah,
is a NFL.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
and it's like, and that ego just takes a shattering, and that to me was one of the things where I was like, I need to figure this out for like what happened to him, and we talked about it for probably 45 minutes, just chatting, and I'll tell you, I couldn't even imagine. Couldn't even imagine. I mean, I don't think any of us can imagine working your whole life for something, getting it, making millions of dollars, thinking I'm set for life. And then all of a sudden you're broke, your house is repossessed, your cars are repossessed, and you're working as a janitor.
yeah.
Like, talk about the rise and fall. That's almost a movie. You know what I mean? Like,
It's like rags to riches, back to rags. Like that's
yeah,
it's
crazy. But yeah, great man, very inspiring guy.
I
Yeah.
thought it was one of the best things. Just one second. Do you guys hear that? You guys hear that in the background? Oh, it
What?
sounds like, you know what? I think it sounds like the Dat lane of the day. Let's go. There we go. See, I had to kind of bust your guys' balls on it. But today's
That was good. That was a good one.
lane of the day is going to be van from Dallas, Texas to Orlando, Florida. Line haul rate per mile is looking at $2.33 a mile. All in with fuel is looking at $2.93 a mile. Contract, including fuel, is looking at $3.35 a mile. Year over the year change has been minus 37 cents. Recent upward rate movement due to the hurricane recovery. The current rate is about 34 cents higher than the September average. So that was the
So
lane
have
of
you
the
guys
day.
read the latest? There's a big push on Costco to reduce cost. And Costco's logistics team came back and said, do you guys realize that we run on contract? And even though freight rates are dropping in the spot market, it takes about 6 to 8 months for contract rates to hit.
Yeah.
Like to drop in that rate. And if they raise in that time, then so it's interesting that Costco's now coming out and starting to educate the market on, or consumers on, how freight rates impact costs, which I thought was pretty darn cool because it's like data's finally starting to come to the forefront. See,
They're
Ryan,
the
when you said there was
800-pound
that
gorilla.
noise, I thought it was the man bun that was going on. That was like
Oh
stirring.
yeah.
You had a fan going or something. I thought it was like, causing that.
No, I figured, I missed them a couple of weeks because you know what, we've had such great conversations where it was like, I don't want to derail from it, like it's been really, really good, but we get back into it daily and have that for me. For me, like the biggest wins, I know Lisa's here, she's done it for herself as well as I'm on day 7 of 75 hard. That's been amazing. If anybody doesn't know what 75 hard is, you got 6 tasks every single day, no excuses. You got to fix it, you got to do it. It's 2 workouts, 2 45-minute workouts. One has to be outdoor, a gallon of water, a progress picture every day. That's my favorite part, I guess. You got to stick to a diet, no cheat meals or alcohol. And it's been day 7. I'm down a couple pounds. I feel good. It's a mental toughness thing. It's not a workout plan or anything like that. It's strictly mental toughness. And I've done this quite a bit. I've started and I stopped a lot. And I usually stop around that 3 to 4 day mark. So when I planned
like 3 to 4 days
days
left or 3 to 4 days in?
3 to 4 days in. Because then I'll be like, let's go. It's Margarita Fridays. Let's go have some fun. But with that being said, when I planned myself that I knew I was going to do this October 1st, I looked at October 3rd and 4th, and I was like, this is it. These are the days I need to get through. And then, look, I still got quite a bit to go, but the momentum is carrying me. So that's my biggest win. Another opportunity that's been really, really cool for me is that I volunteer with quite a bit of dog rescues. There's opportunities right now in the next couple months to actually go to Mexico and participate in a spay and neuter clinic for like 3 to 4 days in Mexico. Basically, bring dogs in with vets, spay and neuter them, reduce the population, make everything kind of healthy out there. So I will be going out to Mexico within the near future for a weekend to.
Good for you.
So
yeah, that's good, man.
But yeah, it's awesome, man. It's honestly being positive and the impact that I can have on other people is awesome. And
Are
for
these
Dan and
stray
I,
dogs in Mexico?
yeah, stray dogs,
Family
stray dogs.
pets.
Straight ups.
Now,
Yeah.
so what do they do? I know males are a little different than females, but when Stanley was neutered,
Hmm.
it was like a stitchless thing, and no worries. But I know your dog opened her stitches because
Yes.
when female dogs are spaded, it's a much bigger process. Does this company or this process um, keep them for like a week or two
Exactly.
so
So it
they're
is
actually
it's a
healed and then
sanctuary.
release them?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
exactly. It's a
okay.
sanctuary, so they're gonna bring them in, and they already already have them there as well. And yeah, they're gonna keep them there for 7 days to kind of make sure everything's good, and then release them back home. And let them.
Very cool.
Hopefully, somebody likes them, and they bring them into their home as well, right? So
Oh, so
that's
actually bringing them in off the street and then bringing people in and seeing if you can actually put families to them.
exactly.
Oh, very cool, brother.
And
Very
then
cool.
with
It's awesome.
this organization works with our organization where we'll actually bring some to Canada. So find families here, and these are
So the big question: how many dogs are you bringing home? And
well,
don't say none.
well,
Don't
let
say
me
none
tell you
because that's
this.
complete BS, Ryan. Every
No,
time
no,
you
no,
go
no. Well,
somewhere,
here's
you're
the
Yeah,
bringing a
thing.
new
yeah,
dog
come
home.
on now.
The city bylaws, I can't have more than 3. So I'm tapped out right now. So I'm not trying to I'm tapped out. So if I was to get another address, maybe
Yeah,
another
yeah,
3.
yeah. You're
But
not going to tell about the dogs in your
Oh my
bathroom,
god.
right?
no, no, no,
Ryan,
not especially in the
Ryan's
basement.
reason for stopping getting animals is because the city has bylaws. And he's not-
Hey man,
That's really funny because my sister-in-law went to college for 10 years and she's a DVM. I won't let her touch my animals, but that's a different story. But no, what she did was when she went to college, she was working in the veterinary clinic, of course, trying to get her doctors. And they would bring in the strays and everything. So they had to operate on them. I mean, they were guinea pigs in order to, fine tune their techniques because she's a surgeon. Okay. Make a long story short, she used to go in there over the weekend and steal some of them and bring them home and they were like, what the hell happened to the dog, and I took a kidney out or something like that, and she knew what was going to happen to him. It was like she went back in there and she took them out, a few of them. So she had like maybe 7 or 8 dogs and stuff like that, but it was pretty cool. That's why I was busting
I
your
can
chops.
I can see how it happens, brother. When we went and got Stella, there was one sister left, and Christine and I are looking at each other like, do we just take 2 of them? Because you don't want to leave the one alone.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
and when puppies are so cute, you want to get like 15 of them just because they're so cute and they're
I had
loving and
I had
just
that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're tapped out at 3, and you know what? Our third one was a foster. We were just gonna foster her, and my wife knew. She said it was actually Super Bowl Sunday. We went to go pick her up. My wife knew on the drive home that she wasn't going anywhere. So we always kind of constantly joke about that. So it's awesome. For Dan and I, this weekend is Thanksgiving, so it's gonna be a great time to spend time with family and things like that. That's important.
That's awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
I got a quick question for you, Ryan.
What's that?
How did you get involved in the rescues? What
How
what
much?
made you go that way?
How much time do we have? Not just
All
joking.
right, let's save that for another time because
No, I'll just get into quick. I'll just get into quick. It's actually about a 1 minute story. So it's kind of a sad story, but I got my first dog in 2018.
Yeah.
It's actually a funny story. So my coworker and I was working in logistics transportation. 19-year-old kid started making money in logistics. He was in sales. He's like, I'm gonna get a dog. He was by himself here and stuff like that. He got the dog, and then he realized his productivity went down. So he was like, look, man, I got to get rid of the dog. So we took the dog because he was our office dog. He was my best friend. Dan knows this. And then, unfortunately, we went on a walk and he passed away in my arms. No issues. Just it was the most tragic thing that ever happened. I actually got him tattooed on my arm. But so I went down to depression. I've never been down depression in my life. So I did like counseling. I did all these kind of things. And then I was like, oh, dog rescue. And I just started getting involved, and I
Wow.
can say that I'm a team lead of transportation, which I bring my logistics experience to a rescue called Fetch and Release, and then I help out with 2 other rescues. So it gives me
Fantastic.
purpose. It's awesome. So Dan knows what my end goal is in my whole career. So it's everything in logistics is leading up towards that.
Awesome, man. That's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm. I actually remember that day, brother. Vividly.
Yeah, it was probably one of the worst days of my life, but
Mm-hmm.
but you know what? I've got an appreciation for everybody who like adopts, whoever rescues and things like that. These vets, they're overworked. That's something that like everyone needs to talk about because a lot of vets right now they're retiring or getting out of the industry because it's just so stressful. And things like that, but not to divert. But some good news: the Blue Jays, our Toronto Blue Jays, they are in the playoffs. Today is Game 1 of the Wild Card Series after 6 years. So we're looking forward to that. What are you guys getting up to this weekend?
Nothing.
No, it's a big fair in town here. It's the big Erin Fall Fair, the final fair of the year, and so our town's going to be swamped with people. I get to sit and watch everybody eat and do great things while I can't eat. So that's going to be super fun. I'm really looking forward to that.
I was gonna say, are you gonna get a blooming onion? You know, you got to get a blooming onion,
Dude,
man. But like,
Oh, blooming
brother,
onion.
I have got,
love
you know, when
them.
I told you about the lists, right? So
That's
I've
right.
got a list of all the food that I want to eat when I can start eating, and the blooming onions at the top of the list, and the Outback Steakhouse is in Niagara Falls. It's the
Yeah,
only
nice,
one in
nice
Ontario.
porterhouse. Nice porterhouse.
Yeah, and then there's bloomin' onion, there's porterhouse, there's roti, there's shawarma, there's General Tao chicken, there's
Oh,
all sorts. I got everything I like on there, and it's like I'm gonna go one after another. I'm gonna have a lot of fun gaining back the weight. Let's just put it that way.
Mandarin, watch out. You know, Mandarin. When you
Yeah,
see Dan come with those sweatpants, watch out.
I'm
and he's
I could
walking-
have
he's
my,
walking
like,
like this.
I could have one of those cards that they go click 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 for you know the sweatpants. So I like
Something to you guys. Awesome.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. But I'm also aware that I wasn't eating healthy before this happened. I mean, sorry, let me rephrase that. I was eating okay. I wasn't like McDonald's every day, but like when I'd go to McDonald's, it'd be like a 20-piece chicken nugget meal. You know, but because of my diabetes, I'd get the Coke Zero because you got it, right? Like
for balance,
sugar
for
and
balance.
everything else,
With
right?
water.
So
You
it's
know?
like, yeah, so that's a big component of this next step is I want to be in the next 12 months, I want to be in the best shape of my life.
Yes.
And that's kind of how I want to push forward. So I'm starting to research juicing and all sorts of other things. And, you know, like when I was a competitive bodybuilder, everything was about health, right? Everything. And you tend to sometimes you veer off of that stuff, right? And you know, it's just one of those things where now I've got an opportunity, and you know, you talk about the gold inside every challenge and inside the vortex of opportunity, and now I've got an opportunity to build back in a much stronger, healthier way, and I'm looking forward to that. I really am.
Yeah, I'll say this too. Like, what's really helped me with like the 75 hard challenge is that like I've only been cooking at home, and I got some recipe books, and I actually got like a recipe book holder, and it's actually I was telling my wife it was the greatest thing ever to actually use a recipe book, cook everything, and like taste it. And you're like, holy shit, this doesn't taste salty. You know, like I used the right measurements this time. I'm like, this is amazing. So like I know what it's like, man. It's I know, right? I said the same thing too. Like competitive bodybuilder. We'll save that for another episode, but we gotta get.
Yeah, I'll put up some pictures one day, but yeah, I was a competitive bodybuilder, and it was and it's actually I finished a competition, came in third my last competition, and I started in logistics 3 days later. So I came into the company shredded with this like unreal six pack, and then like I remember vividly because about 4 months later I looked down and I couldn't see my belt. Because I stopped bodybuilding and I just like it was just sales, and then food getting ordered in, and I was like, "What the heck just happened to me?" And it was one of those like, "Oh my god, yeah, you know, sitting is the new smoking" kind of thing. But
That's awesome.
yeah.
I got a question to end off today. I'll ask it to both of you guys. When you write the book of your life, what is the last 2 sentences going to say in your book?
Wow.
Oh.
Want to talk about ad hoc?
Yeah, that's a good one. I know that I'd love to see on my tombstone is that I slid into the grave and said, "What a hell of a ride!" You know, I want to make sure that, you know, I try to have as much fun in this life as much as possible, man, and I just want to keep on going to the end. You know, whenever that may be, I have no idea. The man upstairs has that all planned for me. So, you know, I don't know. That's a tough question, but something like that, something to that effect.
Mine would be, what you do screams so loud I can't hear a word you say.
Wow, that's a good one too. I'm gonna have to think about that over the weekend.
Yeah, like Lisa actually just brought it up. Like, we'll like, you know what? Let's do Monday about it. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. And everybody on the weekend start thinking about yours and bring it to the table Monday.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
That's what Monday, our Thanksgiving episode. So we'll have our turkeys in our hand while Jeff is like, what the fuck's going on with these guys? Just want to thank everybody for tuning in this morning. This week has been a blast for every single one of us.
Oh, it's awesome.
If you find value in any of the videos or anything that we've kind of said, please like, comment, subscribe, share it with somebody that you think that could be beneficial in their life. Our replays will be hitting again at 12 p.m. Eastern time and 3 p.m. Eastern time on our social channels, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Dan, amazing to see you, brother. Christine, thank you for being the rock for Dan. It's amazing. Yep. Jeff, always a pleasure, man. We've been crushing it for the past almost a month, I think we've been together. So let's keep doing it. Wishing
you
everybody
guys have been longer than that, actually.
Yeah, it's been longer than that.
Rocking it, man. Rocking
yeah,
it.
you know, it's
we're happy and proud of you guys both.
Yeah. Thanks,
all right,
man.
everybody.
Hey, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Centurion Trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman